Good evening. We spoke about, in the beginning, about minimizing our mistakes. We spoke about being brave and trying to play if they press us. We spoke about creating opportunities, but we didn't start well. I think the goal we gave away was a rush of blood. And then I thought after that we played better. And we spoke about being concentrated for the full 90 minutes, and then again we gave away a silly goal, and in that time we created a few. Went in, tried to address it, and immediately after that again, it's the mistakes that we make that top teams like Brazil pounce on, and when we get an opportunity, we don't utilize the opportunity. I felt that when we were on the ball, we looked really good. We created half chances. But all round, the result wasn't great. But we are better than that. And I explained to the players that this is way up from WAFCON, and surely is way up from WAFCON. We still have a lot of work to do. The World Cup's not tomorrow. The World Cup's almost a year from now. And we wanted a test like this to see where we're at. And we still have a lot of work to do, of course. A lot of players were tested. We need to now sit down, look at the footage and see who goes with us on our journey, and if they are close, who stays with us, and who do we release and who do we bring in. Not happy with the result, but there were a few positive moments, but I think the negative moments outweighed the positive moments in this match. And I don't think we were a 6-0 team. I thought we were better than that, but we've got to make sure that we minimize our mistakes. That is costing us dearly at this moment. At WAFCON, we made 3 mistakes, conceded 3 goals. We made mistakes in the first game, conceded. We made mistakes, conceded. So that's got to be better. Because we allow teams, when we are fighting or we are playing our part on the pitch, we allow teams to get into the game by giving away goals like that, and that's got to be better. So it's not just, it's not a team, but it's more individual errors. It's decision making, but it's decision making under pressure. And that is what needs to be better, because when we go to the World Cup, the pressure is going to be even more. But it was a good test right at the beginning to see what we need to work on. We have enough time to work on things, and hopefully we'll get better.
Thank you. Jenny, can you please take us through from the player's perspective, please?
I think from a player's perspective side, I think obviously we are a team building towards the FIFA Women's World Cup, and we have to play opponents like Brazil and the top 10 teams in the world in order to grow and be a better team. And this is the kind of performance and results that one would get when you first start building your blocks. So I think from a player's perspective, we can't dwell on a result like this. Of course, it brings your confidence down, but it also makes you realize the gap between where we are at the moment and where we need to get. I think in the first game, we sussed Brazil out a little bit. We obviously analyzed them, and we went into the game not knowing what to expect, and sat back a little bit. And I think this game, it was almost like we were going to take the risk of playing forward passes, trying to be brave in our tackles, trying to be cheating a little bit and trying to push forward more often, which in the first half I think we created many opportunities. And when you become brave and you risk a certain part of your game, you become vulnerable in the back. And that is what we have learned, and the lessons that we take from these things. And when you make unforced errors, a good team like this will punish you, and that is what we'll expect at the World Cup. So for us as players' point of view and as the coaches, I think this is just a building block towards where we need to get. We now know what we need to improve on as a team. Keeping the ball, we can keep it against African teams very well. We are a team that enjoy being on the ball. We really don't like to chase, and that is something that needs to be balanced in our game. Is our defensive organization needs to be a lot better, because when we go to the World Cup, we might not have much possession. So we need to focus a little bit more on our defensive organisation as a team, and against these top teams. But again, like, we can't look at the results and dwell on it. It's for us to learn from, and this is just the first phase of that learning process.
Thank you for taking the Jenny. We're
To
gonna
put her down, but also to try and to get her to improve.
Look, we don't speak in haste. We have a look at the footage first before we make decisions on how we react to that, because from where you're sitting, you see things differently from up top. And we've always done that. We don't speak after the match because you can't take back what you've said. So we'll have a look, and then we'll have conversations. Obviously, players will get the clips. We ask them for feedback, and then we discuss that. So we look at all of those things, and we don't do anything in haste. It's a process where we even give the game, and they have to analyze the game to see, because we also want to understand what they understand, or to see what they understand. So we won't do anything in haste, but we will have conversations. Look, we're in season now, but some of our players have just finished their pre-season. Have played 1 or 2 games, so they will also get better. We have a few returning players as well, so in that way the team will get better. But more of these matches will definitely test us. So we go back and we take the learnings out of this, and we try to improve with our fitness, with our technical ability, with our tactical ability. Because we have shown at certain moments, that we can play against these top teams, as staying concentrated for the full 90 minutes. And I think the level we play at sometimes doesn't help us in the league, because the intensity needs to be higher. There's a couple of good games in the league when you have the top teams that play, but nobody understands the intensity of this level. When I spoke to the players, I spoke about WAFCON, and I said, if you think that's the intensity you're facing, then you're highly mistaken. It's way up. So now a lot of players have had a taste of this, and they realize that. So fitness levels has got to improve. Technically, we've got to improve. Tactically, we've got to improve, because we have shown that we can, but it's got to be concentrated for the 90 minutes, and that comes with playing more games like this. It puts you under pressure, more games that will force you to think quicker, more games that will help you to make better decisions when you're under pressure, and so forth. And we have shown in moments that we can do it, but it's got to be for the duration of the 90 minutes. So if we consistently play teams that will challenge us, that will force us to do certain things, to make better decisions, we will also get better. But it's a whole package, and as I said, the World Cup's not tomorrow. But it's a good lesson, it's a good learning that, there's a lot of work to be done, but we've shown that we can, and that come the World Cup, we will definitely be way better because of games like this that will help us to grow, that will help us to improve. Brazil is far ahead of us in terms of that. If you look at their squad, they have players playing in big clubs, We have players abroad as well, which has really helped the team, but we need more to go abroad to bring back that experience, because we've seen with the players that have gone abroad, what they bring, so we need that. But getting more games like this, maybe some opponents not as strong as Brazil, somewhere we can match, where we can match ourselves against them and see how far we are, because we have grown over the last 4 years as a team. But we've got to be better, and individually players have got to, be really critical on themselves, because they also have to get better individually to collectively be better.
I think for me, it's important that for any professional athlete that wants to grow, the key factor is self-evaluation, where you are and where you need to be. Looking at the average of the top players in the world and how far you need to get to. And I think that's one of the reasons why I decided to go abroad. It wasn't in my plans at all, but I know I need to step up a level if I want to compete at the World Cup, or even continue to push through the national team and continue to challenge my teammates for that spot in the first 11. And it's just that there's so much more competition abroad at the moment in different leagues, different competitions within the league that they play. They play Cup, they play qualifiers for Champions League, they play the league itself, whereas in South Africa currently, we only have the Hollywood Bets League for now, and that still needs to grow. But top teams and the teams abroad, they have the facilities, they have the resources in order to help an athlete to grow as a player, and I think that is what has helped, like Coach has said, the individual players that are playing abroad. Not to say that our league is not strong, but they have the resources to really push that athlete to get to that next level. And that, whether that is on strength, speed, your endurance levels, whatever it is, and keep up with the women's game. And that is what I've been doing, the decision coming from myself in playing abroad, and obviously looking what I need to do myself. I have my own data that I capture when I'm training alone, so I can, track my own records and look at how far I need to continue to push myself to reach that average of, whoever plays in a centre-back role. And I think it's important that we also, as a national team, we do it with our data, and we capture the distance that we run, and we need to improve on that. And yeah, that's what I feel is the key factor.
I don't think the confidence levels are down, because I think the players gave everything that they could out there. Brazil were better in departments, and at times they were better. And if you are not going to challenge players, then they're not going to grow. It's important to challenge them. And I feel that if we play lesser known teams and there's no challenge, we're not going to grow as a group. We're not going to grow as individuals. The players want to be challenged. The players want to get better. And the only way we're going to get better is by teams challenging us all the time. I mean, we could have played lesser known teams and got a fantastic result, and everybody would have thought that it's okay, But then when you go to the World Cup, you've won all these games, but you're not ready. So this will push them, and this will push the players to work harder. And the players are not afraid to work hard. We've seen it, when we went to the last World Cup, the distances that we covered was maybe the same as the others. Technically, obviously they were better because players play in top clubs, and that's areas that we got to be better technically and tactically. So when we send players home, they got to work technically. If we said if each player can get 10% better technically, this team will be better. But each and every individual's got to go back. We can't do finishing in camp because it's too little time. You can't take 120 minutes and work on finishing. It's not going to happen. So we challenge the players, we ask the clubs to help and assist us with that, and not just passing the ball and laying the ball off, because this is not what happens here. So things that they do back has got to be under pressure. And we always say the intensity in games back home has got to be higher, because players come from there and then they get a shock when they come here and everything happens very quickly around them. So if we play lesser known teams, we're not going to grow. And it's not about, the players' confidence is still high. They might have lost, but there were moments that we really matched them. There were moments that we created havoc, but we didn't finish. And if we don't do these under pressure and we don't do these at the high intensity, we won't be able to compete then, because we'll be getting easy games, scoring many goals, and when it comes to the World Cup, we'll have the same problem.
Monitor.
Of course, I monitor all the players. When there's media out there, when there's people out there that talk about players, I monitor the players. I see the games. I see the stats. And I don't want to talk about stats, because stats is important. When you're saying there's goal scorers out there, then you must have the stats to prove that. You can't say there's a goal scorer and they play 30 games and they score 10 goals. You can't say there's a player that plays regularly, but they play 15 out of 42 games and come on as a substitute. So I follow each and every player. When you speak about players, I know exactly who they are, because I make sure that I see the footage. I make sure that I get the footage. I make sure that I show the assistant coach the footage. So we don't just make decisions nilly-willy. We make sure that if that is the player that we want. There were calls in the past for a sister, Notolo, to come in. And we said when the time is right. And when the time was right, we brought her. We brought other players in, their time was not right. 2 years later, we had a look at them again. The door is never ever closed to anyone. But when the time is right, we will call the players in that we think will add value to the team. It felt like a full capacity because of the singing, of the support, cheering the team on. Didn't matter what was happening on the field. So we've known before, we came to Durban before in 2019 for our send-off game. The atmosphere was fantastic and it hasn't changed, even though there wasn't that many fans in the stadium, but it felt like a full stadium. So thank you to the fans out there. Some of them haven't left. They're waiting for us to come out again, and that's really amazing, because we haven't had fans in stadiums for a very, very long time. We wanted to say thank you with our performance, but unfortunately the result wasn't great. But I'm sure they enjoyed what they saw out there.
No, I've always said that the Durban fans are the most amazing. There's competition between the Cape Town and Durban fans, but it's always nice coming here, and you know, you have the crowd behind you supporting you, and throughout 90 minutes cheering and singing. I even came off the bench and sang a little bit, but it was a really nice experience to have the fans back in the stadium and cheering us on.
Thank you.